There are laws of the universe that treat us. The disease, like everything else in space, is manifested according to certain laws, says the famous German physician Dr. Ruediger Dahlke. Learn what you can do for yourself to feel good, regardless of circumstances. According to your philosophical approach, the rules of the game are governed throughout the universe, or certain metaphysical laws, and if we do not know them, we can suffer very much. What are these laws? The law of polarity, the law of resonance or attraction, and the law of the beginning. First, law of polarity. According to the law of polarity, everything consists of two opposites. There is no light without darkness, there is no joy without sadness, the interior does not exist without the exterior, and health does not exist without disease. People tend to identify themselves only for one part of the whole, then they suffer when the other part of the whole is manifested in their lives. Second, privacy law. The law of attraction speaks of the resonance of energy. The kind of energy that is inside us will attract energy with a similar charge. If we think of ourselves as the worst, even if we do it unconsciously, we will attract the worst, even illness, into our lives. When in our lifetime we repeat similar situations that we do not want, it means that they resonate with something that exists in us, even if we are not aware of it. But it is not just mechanical to repeat affirmations and send them into space, which is very popular nowadays to attract something more positive. It is really necessary to experience our inner charge and to understand what is currently bringing us into life, and learn to change it slowly. It is therefore necessary to change attitudes towards oneself and to learn to love oneself. Only by knowing and recognizing the quality of energy that is in us can something really change. Third, law of law. The law of the beginning says that what is beginning in a certain way has the tendency to take place in the same way. If you have a bad morning, then the rest of the day will probably be like that. When we start something, we should do this with a positive purpose and energy, which means that we must recognize the negativity in ourselves and consciously take power. Can you give examples of life in which these laws are manifested? I have already mentioned affirmations, which are a one-sided attempt to experience only one half of life, positively. At the same time, we demand from the universe that it only gives us, but we never ask ourselves what we should give in exchange. We create a huge imbalance in ourselves. And at the same time we are attracting this imbalance into our lives, which can manifest itself in the form of disease. How are those laws reflected in the field of disease and health? None of us can choose whether he will get sick, but this will happen. The only question is at what stage. It can only happen at the level at which we will be able to strike a balance without difficulty, or maybe the one where the lessons will be the hardest. As I have already said, putting into practice as receiving should be equally present in our lives. If we learn to give out of the heart, we will have a big heart at the psychological level, so we will help others or do volunteer work, we will have empathy. When we are not aware of this need in our life and we only try to obtain it, we can physically obtain a big heart, which means that we become sick with heart failure, in which the heart grows. This symptom reminds us of the part of the whole that we do not want to envy and do not give it a deserved place. Thus the law of polarity is manifested. Let me give you another example. If someone is always serious and imprisoned and does not allow him to live happily, curiously, free as a child, to exude an inner child and his needs, but leaving these needs to an end, it is not surprising if before the end of life, this need is lived through Alzheimer's disease. Perhaps this is exactly why they are sick. Such people become childish and replace what they did not live with. The law of attraction can act through identification with the disease. If we identify with disease at the level of identity, for example, when I say, I am depressed, I am allergic, I have a high pressure, we are vibrating according to the disease. The more we deal with it, we put more unpleasant energy into our system. This creates a negative field that still attracts negative vibrations. Every time we are in a bad state and we think of a disease or we talk about it, we only increase the negative field. It is therefore not good to allow people to turn us into negative things again and again, and we should not be tempted into negative thinking. But if this happens, nothing is lost yet. If we begin to direct our attention to a different kind of energy, if we allow the experiences that are not related to the disease to come into our lives, if we are not limited and humiliated only because there is a disease in our life, our energy field can change and we create positive vibrations that cure us. Peace and love.